The following production is intended for entertainment purposes only. We are not legal professionals. We do not speak for any government agency, and the opinions expressed here are our own. Relax.
Morning.
Good morning.
Clayton.
Morning,
Margaret.
Justin.
Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning.
You got to tell Clayton good morning too.
Oh, good morning, Clayton.
Good morning, Margaret.
Yeah. So, as we both acknowledged, Margaret is here with us this morning, and even though we're in the same house, in fact, I'm not sure if she'd be no. Would you be directly above me? Anyway, you're somewhere above me, in the same house, but we are in separate rooms. It's not that we're not speaking to each other. It's just that
Everything all right?
yeah, it just seemed like more of a real experience, if she was in an opposite room.
Yeah, and
No.
I got a cooler background.
You do have a real cool background.
Yeah.
Cooler? I don't know.
Okay.
Did you have a whole bunch of books?
Cooler.
Bunch of smart looking books?
I got those, and I got those.
You got poison ivy growing in your corner back there?
To keep them
Let's
Keep the boys away.
But basically,
keep the
Keeps-
prowlers out.
Yeah.
yeah, you got a little devil candle over there, so
Oh, that's a spark plug. Good judging.
Who is that?
It's a spark plug.
Spark plug? Oh.
My buddy that owns a tattoo shop makes these. He makes all kinds of stuff, all kinds of trinkets, and I like taking them. Not taking. I like buying them when I go in. Old Glory Tattoo, by the way.
Old Glory Tattoo. Shout out.
Little plug.
Where are they at?
In Derby, Kansas.
Sweet.
My boy Travis Chadwick.
There's a couple cool Travises in your life, huh?
Yeah. There's a handful of them.
Travises rarely miss. Justin's are about 50-50. What do you think?
Well, let me think about the Justins in my life.
I know
I
a
would-
Justin Wren. He's cool. He was in rehab with me.
Right now, just off the top of my head, I think they're 75% cool.
Yeah. Easily. Easily. I'd give him
that's-
75.
That seems about right. I
Mark?
don't know. I don't know that I've. Go ahead.
Margarets are pretty cool. I don't know any bad Margarets. What are the historical Margarets?
they're all just old.
Yeah.
Mostly.
So
Yeah, you're pretty much the only one that I know that's below like 70. I mean, honestly, I don't know any
Yeah.
other Margaret's alive.
you
but-
guys didn't think about that when you named me, did you?
But no, because we figured that that would make you at least you'd make it to 80 because it's an 80-year-old name.
Yeah, they felt like you were an old soul when you came out. You're like,
my
oh,
goodness.
this one's been around for a while.
This one's Margaret. Rough.
Yeah,
Does
so-
Margaret have 2 syllables or 3? I say it with 3, but I might be wrong. Margaret.
Well, it's probably supposed to be 3, but I say it just Margaret.
Mm.
That's probably about why people be misspelling your name.
Well, I'm not gonna go up to the Starbucks worker and say my name's Margaret.
Kids say it like Margaret.
That's the
I'm
same
not-
thing as I
I-
just said.
I'm not going to coach you on how to say your name,
Okay.
even though I do like to do that. I really do like when somebody has a what's the name? So I've got a guy that a colleague, we'll call him. He's a home inspector, and his name is spelled Bjostad. Okay, Bjostad. Right.
Say it again.
Actually,
Bjostad?
now that I've said it, I can't remember how I said it. He said it was Bostad or Biostad. I don't remember. And I said it was the opposite. And I was just like, no, bro. This is how it's spelled. This is how it's pronounced. I'm sorry. We don't get to choose the English language. But the funny thing is as I'm thinking of it, I don't remember which one I was so confident in. But that sort of thing. Like if somebody's got a name that they want to try to spice it up, sorry. You have a choice of a lot of things. You don't have a choice of the English language.
Seiler is a pretty popular last name in y'all's parts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I used to tell everyone that I met with the last name Seiler that their name was spelled wrong. Like, it's I before E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the typical response to that?
It went over great every time. They were like, "You're right. Thank you." Gave me a pat on the back. And they went, "Ooh, ooh, ooh."
I'm just here to help.
I'll be here all day. Tell them that. Margaret, what's new? What's in your life?
Um, well, I know he's tired of hearing him. I bet you can guess what I'm gonna say.
Who, me?
Yeah, you could probably guess what I'm excited about right now.
Oh yeah, I can see what you're excited about right now.
Yeah, I pierced my ears 4 times. I did these
Wouldn't
two myself.
the first time didn't take?
Huh?
The first time didn't work?
No, it worked. I just wanted more. I
Oh.
did these two myself, and then I got this one up there, and this one inside my ear.
That's
Ooh.
exactly what I said. Yikes! Ouch!
Ooh. What is that
But that's
called when
all.
you pierce the cartilage? Isn't
Oh
it
boy,
called
hang on,
something?
hang on. Wait. There's like 15 different names of piercings that you can get in your ear, and they all sound like Lord of the Rings places,
Okay.
right? So she's gonna tell, or maybe like Pokemon characters. So she's gonna rattle them off, right? And may make a reference to one later on, and you're expected to know where it is or what it is. Okay.
Mm.
So proceed with caution, Margaret.
Well, I only have two.
No,
What?
like what are they? What are the different types?
Well, I got lots of plans.
Yeah,
This one
let's
is
hear 'em.
called a conch. Just a conch, like a conch
Conch shell.
shell.
Conch shell.
Yeah. And this one is a helix.
Why is it
They're
named a
not,
helix, you think?
I could not tell you.
You don't make the rules.
But I'm gonna get a tragus, which is right there.
A what?
A tragus.
Trey
It goes
guess?
on like the little, yeah, like the little triangle.
Okay.
And a daith, which goes around this hunk of ear. Um, what else am I getting?
Don't
Mid
you know
helix.
don't you know that your body's a temple and you're not supposed to?
Yeah, and I'm supposed to decorate it how I like. And I'm gonna get a rook.
Maybe how the Lord
Sorry, that's
likes.
really sassy.
That was
I'm
sassy. I'm
so,
sorry.
so sorry.
No, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm getting a bunch.
Why?
Why?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just think it looks cool. It's
You
like
think
tattoos.
you think you can get a good job if you got all them piercings on your head? Yeah. Okay.
I think so. If they didn't hire me because of piercings, they're just not cool enough, and I don't want to work there anyway.
That's
I found
reasonable.
out I found out I had a I found out I had a deviated septum when I was in the Navy in my nose, and I always thought that sounded like a piercing. Septum, deviated septum.
It is a
It is a piercing, you're telling me, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
where it comes out right there.
So what would a deviated one be? It would just be like a a jacked up
Yeah, it's a naughty septum. He doesn't play by the rules.
he can do what he's like pops out or something.
He's like, ha ha. He's good like 80% of the time, but when that 20%, he's really naughty.
Which, by the way, speaking of playing by the rules and piercings, I'd mentioned before that I'm stretching my ears out,
Mhm.
and like as it stands, I can stick my fingers through them, which is a fun party trick everybody loves, especially when I'm like I do it slow, like peekaboo. I'm stretching them out. Well, the way you stretch them out is you've got they're tapered plugs, and at the end they're like the stretched goal, right?
It's like they're spikes. They're like little
Yeah,
horns.
exactly. So you're supposed to push them in, as far as they can, and then you put little rings around them and just keep going.
Like a little rubber gasket that holds them in place.
Yep, exactly. Well, I I would say I'm a patient guy. I would
Yeah.
say that I value the experience, and I think it's important to take things slow, whatever. I've learned that if I put I've got some Aspercream with lidocaine, and I can rub those on my ear holes, and bro, I could stretch like super fast.
Yeah.
Like
You're really good at that.
get those those ears all like numbed up. Freaking stick those things in and bam.
Go to town.
Yeah. But so what happens is my ears are like the holes are like trying to reject it because they're like trying to close up. So sometimes I'll just be chilling and it'll just bloop, just fall out. So then I have to do it again.
Do you think that's the spirit of the Lord, like just flicking it out of your ear?
Get that crap out of here. That might
Get
be
outta here.
that might be the ghost in our house. I don't know. Well, Thelma probably don't put up with the earrings on boys.
I bet she hates them.
She probably thinks that's
She thinks you're Satan in her house.
that's for the lady boys.
Mm-hmm. She won't have it.
Thelma is the ghost in our house.
Yeah. Is she a teetotaler, you think? She's like an old Kansas.
I think she probably drinks some. I think she probably drinks some sour mash.
She took a little nip whenever her husband wasn't around.
Yeah, whenever she needed to. Margaret is pretty sure that her room is haunted.
Oh, I think it's real haunted.
I bet your room is cold.
Right now it is. Usually it will. Dad, since it's been spooky here, it's been freezing.
Well, spooky season.
You know, that's right.
Has nothing to do with all the snow.
Or that is negative 12 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it is the snow, I bet. But it's always hot in my room. And it's not now, which is good.
I haven't been seeing my shadows anymore. I think I'm over my shadow ghosts. I've been having shadow ghosts in my house and they're gone. You know, I think it's probably because I've been praying the rosary. I think that's what's been kicking out the ghosts. But maybe I should stop. Lay off the rosary a little bit, like pull my foot off the gas because I kind of like
See
them.
if they come back. Maybe you scared them away a little bit.
Maybe they're just being patient and listening now. They're like, yes, you have our attention.
Or,
What do you want?
Or they have your attention.
Yes. Well, they know they have my attention because I turned around to address them every time I saw them. I thought there were people behind me. So I'd say yes, and there's no one there. Okay.
And people would look at you and be like, that dude's schizophrenic. Like he's talking to people that ain't there.
If that's the clue, then they missed a bunch of others beforehand.
Margaret, why do you think your room's haunted?
Well, because I have like this little license plate sign on my door from where was it from? Colorado. Like one of those touristy souvenir things. Thumbtacked to my door. And the other day I was sitting in my bed and then I heard scratching. I was like, oh, it's one of my cats. But I look, they're sleeping. Everyone in the house is, you guys are in bed. Silas is asleep. The dogs are asleep. It just starts wiggling. And I recorded and I showed you, Justin.
What
that it
starts
was
wriggling?
I have this little license plate, like mini license plate on my door. And it just started swinging. And you know it started swinging,
So
Dad.
it's got four holes in it, and so it's held up by one on a thumbtack. And so, like if you were to open and shut the door, it might cause it to swing back and forth.
Because we tested it. It just bounced. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to settle down. What I'm saying is, like that's what you would expect if you open and shut the door. Like it might move back and forth. It didn't because it's so tight to the door that it really doesn't. Like it won't move unless like you kind of move it.
Could it be the spirit of fracking that's inhabited Kansas over the last couple decade or so? You know what I'm talking about, Margaret? Fracking? Well, when we were growing up, and your dad's much older than I am, but when we were growing up, we didn't used to have earthquakes in Kansas. That wasn't a thing. But here in the last 20 years, 15 years, all of a sudden we got earthquakes.
Got to get that oil.
Got to get that oil, baby. And
I mean that would actually be a reasonable explanation. I hadn't considered the earthquake. I mean nothing else.
Yeah, but you would have felt it.
Not always. I don't.
Oh. Well, I would have felt it, wouldn't I, if it wiggled my room so much that it wiggled my sign?
I mean, more than likely it was a ghost. I think that's the scientific. That's the scientific.
Yeah.
Response.
Mhm.
And we're nothing if not scientific.
Well, I mean, that is the most logical explanation.
And that's what we start with.
Right.
The easiest, most logical.
Arkham's razor.
What else you got? Wiggling license plates?
And the other day when I felt something on my back, I told you about that one too. I was laying
Someone
in my,
tapped you?
well, I was laying in my bed, like on my side, like this, and I felt something push on my back. I thought it was one of my cats again, like walking on my back. I whipped my head around and I was like, wait a minute, they're not even in here. So I was like, okay, if they didn't just push on my back, then something had to have fallen on my back, right? So I get up, I like tear my bed apart and I look up what could have fallen. Not a dang thing. So I was like, you know what, Thelma? You ought to leave me be.
We about to fight.
Because this is
Well-
ridiculous. And I kept waking up at like 2:30 every single night for a week straight. And I didn't know.
You might be getting somewhere with that, with the 2:30, the 2 to 6, but really 3 o'clock that time. That's...
Yeah, it was like 2:30 to 3 every night. And it drove me nuts.
Have you considered just asking her what she wants or what she's trying to tell you? Hey, or what's her name? Thelma? Thelma Louise? What's up? What do you got? Have you ever considered
Yeah,
just
but then
asking?
I'd look schizophrenic. Talking to the air.
Yeah.
Maybe I could
Yep.
write a letter.
If there's one thing, Clayton, that I address in this family, it's that more than anything, you just gotta make sure you don't look weird, right? Like that's the bottom line. Doesn't matter if you get help, it doesn't matter if you get what you need, it doesn't matter what, just don't look weird in the process.
And you tell everyone, follow my lead.
That's right.
I'm going to
That's
shove
right.
horns through my ears and barbells through my septums and my wingaboobs and we're going to go. That's how you do.
You said
Wingaboos.
wingaboos?
I was trying to think of one of the words for the ears.
Oh, yeah,
I forgot them. I apologize.
You got the crunch, you got the Dave, you got the
Margaret.
the rave,
The Whoosies and the
the
Tootsues.
tootsies. No.
Back when I first I pierced my own ear. Yeah, with the safety pin in second grade the first time. In second grade, the first time I pierced it with a safety pin. And then
Is that roughly like 7 years old?
yeah, I was about a year old. Cash is about to turn 7 here in a couple days, in 4 days. I was about Cash's age. A lot of things make sense now with Cash. Yeah, I was getting in fistfights and piercing my ears, trying to give myself tattoos. That the first one didn't stick, but later on, when I was 10, my dad was living with us for a little bit, and he pierced my ear, but he did it the healthy, hygienic way. He told me that he learned in prison, and he cleaned off the needle with alcohol, rubbing alcohol first.
Okay,
Then
that's all you need.
Then burned it with a lighter until it was hot
Oh, okay.
and stretched my earlobe. You can't see that. Stretched my earlobe like so and jabbed that sucker through there. And guess what? I can go years, and I've proven this to my family. I can go years without putting anything in that ear hole. And as soon as you give me an earring, you give me a loop, you give me a dangler, doesn't matter. I'll shove it through there. It'll slide through like a hot knife through butter. It's always there.
It probably the heat probably, what's that called?
Cauterized.
Yeah.
Cauterized it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
why it works in prison.
that makes sense. But you would think though that when you burned it with the lighter that it would like now it's all got the char and stuff on it and probably not.
Hmm.
And they may not be super concerned about hygiene in prison, but
Well, yeah, I don't
it
know.
worked. It worked.
He told me they used to clean up another thing they would do with their tattoos, making the zap guns and the tattoo guns, is they would use the little E guitar string as the
Oh, yeah.
needle.
Yeah.
And they would spray it with Lysol because Lysol kills 99% of all germs. That's just
Sure.
science. So they'd
Sure.
spray it with Lysol, then dip it in Indian ink. They'd have a little like thread from their shirt they'd wrap around the end to hold the ink. Dip that in the Indian ink, and the Lysol, baby. You're good to go.
Yep.
Makes sense.
There was one of the kids at the boys' home that I used to work at who made a really cool tattoo gun and was giving out really good, cool tattoos. He was a good artist, but he had taken it was an ink pen. You've got the shell of the ink pen, whatever the case, you know. He had a little motor from some type of toy, but it was like a revolving motor.
Mhm.
He took a
Margaret, take notes. You got to do this.
I think it was a guitar string. Anyway, he had it all like hooked up to where the needle was connected to the motor, which was going like that, and the needle was going in and out. And you just hook these two wires up to a battery. You'd have the positive and negative, and it's like it was impressive. It was really cool.
Little zap gun.
Yeah.
Why'd you take it away?
You
should have given that boy a reward.
I should have. I actually liked that kid. He was a troublemaker, obviously. I was wanting to get a tattoo gun a while back. I still would love to get one. I feel like I could give tattoos. Like I could give pretty good tattoos.
Can you draw well?
Can I draw well? Is that a horse?
Yeah.
Because if that's a horse, then I can draw well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it definitely is a horse. Margaret, how's your dad's art skills?
Oh, I'll show you.
Boom. That's a horse.
Okay.
Horrific.
I'm gonna be calling CPS later.
You said terrific.
What did you say?
You said terrific, or you said horrific?
Horrific.
That hurts. That hurts my heart.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was an attack.
That hurts my feelings.
I'm sorry.
You guys carry on.
Yeah, that's the first part that you gotta have down if you're gonna be a tattooist. Tattooist. Is that what they're called?
That's what they're called.
A tattooist?
Or sometimes a tattooer.
A two-teedler. I like two-teedler. If you're gonna be a two-teedler, you have to have your sketching skills down. And I'd like to see your portfolio, Justin, of all your sketchings.
So I've got it. You know how they have Flash at tattoo shops?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
I basically I can make a Flash wall with those horses, like just a whole bunch of them. No variation, just the same horse drawn over and over and over, like 15 on a page, and just framed.
But you got to flash some of them up. Like one of them's gonna be brown, one of them's gonna have spots, one of them might have a horn.
Well, I made like do little stars around some of them. Like some old school. I made Sailor Jerry it up a little bit.
Yeah. Is your tattoo parlor gonna be horse themed? Do you think?
I mean, I don't know that I'm gonna have a parlor. I just want to tattoo myself and my friends. I would love to have one though. Wouldn't that be awesome to be a tattoo artist? That'd be freaking cool. You think,
Margaret, how do you feel about your dad's tattoo ambitions?
I mean, if I was an artist, if I could do it.
Now, it would take practice, but I'd let him give me one.
Thank you.
If you got a gun, I would let you.
My dad.
You have to practice on yourself first, but
I can do that.
The same night my dad pierced my ear, he gave me a tattoo, which is a dot on my hand. It's almost faded now. You can't see it. It's going to look like a freckle. But he gave it to pacify me because what he was doing was giving my older brother a tattoo.
A real tattoo?
A real tattoo. And I was extremely jealous as a 10-year-old. I'm like, I need one of those.
How old was your brother?
Well, he would have been 23 at the time.
Okay.
And his girlfriend was over there. That was a big crazy night. Yeah, his girlfriend was over there, and I think he had a couple other buddies. His girlfriend drove this sweet IROC Camaro, that third gen style. Looks like a Transformer, the old Transformer.
Yeah. Is this like 1985-ish?
No, this is 1994.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion Volume 2 came out about that year.
I love how you and T, I think, categorize the years by Guns N' Roses albums.
Oh, dude, I cat like almost every year I think about what album, what time frame would this have been? Oh, Counting Crows. Okay, August and everything after. Got it.
Well, my dad had made one of those zip guns, a pretty nice one. He used the motor from a tape recorder from a cassette player.
Oh
You know
yeah,
the
yeah.
brown. You know exactly what the brown rectangle. And he used that, the tube of a pin, and just the other setup with a little e guitar string and thread around it. And his would plug into the wall, so he was on that two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he,
He was a real tattooer.
yeah, he ain't playing them games with the square batteries. But yeah, he was giving my brother an eagle, which he has since covered up, which I think is rude. My brother has covered up
Was it
that.
was it good? I mean, was your dad an artist?
Yeah, oh, definitely,
Okay.
definitely. He was a legit. I mean, prison. You get a lot of prison makes a lot of artists, and he was a
Yeah.
legit prison artist. But he gave my brother an eagle with the wings. Uh, the head the head was just a straight oval. Like there was no definition or anything like that. It was just an oval with a little beak coming out. Anyway, I was screaming. I was like, "Well, what were you showing me?"
I'm showing you the eagle that my son drew.
Perfect.
Is that basically what we're dealing with? Or
On
no?
par. On par. Good job.
Not quite
Uh,
ready for prison, but close.
yeah, don't worry.
We'll get there.
I hope not. Uh, yeah, and I was like, "Give me a tattoo." So he gave me a little dot on my hand. And the next day, there's a bunch of stuff that happened that night. I got a little shiner on my eye. But the next day, I went to school and
I can totally picture this just being like a regular night of 7-year-old Clayton's life.
I was 10 at this point. I was
Okay.
10.
Well, still, I can pick like this is just a Thursday.
Yeah, might have been. Um, and I didn't take his zap gun, but what I did is I plucked the little piece off of the guitar of the little E string and jabbed that sucker into an eraser of my number two pencil and went to school. And I did steal his vial of Indian ink, and I was handing out tattoo babies. It's like, who
Just
wants a
dots?
dot? Yeah, dot and cross. You can see. No, you can't see it. Oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah, I can see it.
That was at one point a cross, but I got ashamed because the because
Thank
my
you.
body's a temple of.
You got ashamed because you had sinned, and that's the only logical response.
So when it scabbed, I scratched it off, and what was left is just the little L and a dot that's on there now.
Oh, did you get the 3 dots?
No, I never got the 3 dots.
Yeah, your Vita wasn't loco enough.
My Vatos wasn't loco enough.
Hmm.
But don't worry, it got there.
Yeah, I believe it did. What did they call you? Did you have any nicknames growing up?
None of them appropriate. I didn't give myself those nicknames.
Like pre-military, did you have any nicknames?
Yeah, none of them appropriate. Um, they yeah, I mean, not really. They just called me bad words. I grew up.
Not so much nicknames as much as just like pejoratives.
Yeah, mostly. It was a different time. You know, I think kids have evolved. Kids don't say bad words to each other nowadays.
Did they, Mark? They do.
Yeah,
What's
real bad.
Well, going back to like middle school years, what's some of the zingers like you would have to keep in your pocket or that others would have to keep in their pocket was something that they could pull out real quick? 'Cause mine was your mama jokes. Your mom jokes.
Oh, they did your mama jokes all the time. I don't know. They just said bad words. I did too. I used to say all sorts of them in middle school and elementary school. You knew that.
Where did you learn these words from?
School.
Oh.
I know what you were trying to do there, Clayton.
You didn't start saying bad words till like around me at least.
Till I met Clayton.
Till more recent.
Yeah, no, I've always I've always been really good at being able to turn it off and on. Like not to be able to not swear around my family, but then not like I mean, I swear like a sailor most of the time. But I can usually turn it off around the family.
Cash has this really bad habit of repeating the worst words that he hears me say.
He just
And
knows, like instinctively.
yeah, that's a good one. I'll be
Yep.
talking and something will, I'll stub my toe, or we'll be talking about someone and I'll say a not nice word. And he's like, that's a word I have to
Is
say.
he just like writing with, like you see him in the corner jotting down?
Yeah. And
So is the emphasis on the F? Is that okay?
drag it, son. It's you want to see the lips curl.
They want to know it's coming.
Yeah, they got to see it. And last night, so we maybe last year. This started with last year, and I've been getting in trouble with this for this. I still get in trouble for it every day. I get in trouble for this. So Ashley, I'm sorry. This is my fault.
Happy birthday, Ashley, by the way.
Happy birthday, baby. Um, he we were doing something. He must have been in kindergarten. Yeah, it was last year when he was in kindergarten, and they were just starting to play around with the middle finger. Him and Allie are a year and a half apart because I have self-control. And they were showing their ring finger, or no, they were starting to talk about the middle finger, and I was like, no, 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 no middle finger. You can do this, and I showed them sticking up the ring finger, and they loved it, like ha 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 ha, and they were just ring finger, ring finger, ring finger, ring finger. And I was like, that's cool. For like a second, and until Ashley saw it, and she was like, you just taught him how to stick up the middle finger. I'm like, it's not the middle finger. That's a
Yeah.
different finger.
It's next to the middle finger.
Is the thumb the middle finger? What about number one? Is that the middle finger? No. Well, so he immediately started showing his middle finger to everyone. And it's got to the point now where I have to play stern. We've been sticking bars of soap in each other's mouths for the middle finger and for potty words. And
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah. And the immediate rebuttal, which is true, is like, well, you taught us. And I'm like, okay, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So I stick the bar soap in my mouth first, and I say, now count to five. And they're like, one. I'm like, no, keep going. And so they'll do five on mine. I'm like, all right, now your turn. And they'll do that. So that's been lately. We've been doing the bar of soap. He said, damn, the other day. And I was like, if you're not talking about something that holds up a body of water, this is not a good word. So, anyway, yeah, I put a bar of soap. Last night I was talking to a Navy buddy of mine, Cody, who listens to the podcast, and he's a sailor. So I have this default that I go to whenever sailors are talking to each other. We talk like sailors.
Yeah, I get it.
And so I was on the treadmill as I was talking to him, not running super fast, obviously, running slow enough where I could have a conversation. And potty words were just coming out of my mouth left and right. And Allie came up next to me holding a bar of soap. She was like, you know what time it is?
Like when you're ready.
I was like, get that. Get out of here. No. But yeah, I had to explain to her, honey, I'm sorry, but Daddy tries to fight it, but Daddy's a sailor, and when I'm talking to other sailors, I'm gonna talk like a sailor, and that's not good. It's not an excuse, but it's just the reason why.
No, but why? Why do you care?
Why do I care if they do it?
Yeah.
Because they go to elementary school and they go to Sunday school, and I don't want them.
Do you not want listen, there's not going to be a power void. Somebody's going to control that Sunday school room. Somebody's going to control that playground. Is it going to be them, or is it going to be somebody else?
Well, I mean, I know the laws of nature. I know who it's naturally going to fall to. It's going to fall to the kids that's holding up the middle finger and saying, talking like sailors.
That's what I'm talking about.
Margaret, did you have kids like that growing up that would hold up middle fingers and say bad words?
Oh, all the time.
They were
Yeah.
Oh,
cool,
I
though,
was
right?
one of them.
You got one next door to you.
I sure do got one next door to me. I never did the middle finger back to him. I always just did this.
Yeah, the
I
ring
just,
finger,
I
classy.
started doing the middle finger sometimes. Just to him, to get him
Only,
back.
oh,
I got a real problem. I don't have my can of tobacco with me, so you guys converse. I'll be back.
no, it's good. You, I know your dad taught, or he told everyone, he bragged about it, that he let Silas say cuss words only around him, though. Like this was
hmm
had to been 5 years ago. So however old he was 5 years ago, he was letting Silas say cuss words, but
Yep.
just around him. You think that
It
was a
turned
good move?
No,
Yeah.
he never
Bad.
stopped.
Hmm.
It's bad. They told him to stop, but I think they just gave up because he wouldn't stop.
But he doesn't do that a lot out of the house, does he? Do you think
I think
Silas
he
is,
does.
do
At
you think
school,
he's
I think
naughty?
not like naughty. I think he just says a lot of bad words.
Which isn't naughty.
No, it's not. I don't care about bad words either. I just sound stupid saying them, so I don't.
Yeah. My oldest son, who I think is your age now, he's about to graduate. He's a senior in high school. He's 17. He we moved we moved to Kansas when he was 8 from Virginia, and we kind of had the same deal. Like he was allowed to cuss around me and only me. But one day I came out of my front my front door, and he was in the front yard yelling at a bunch of other kids. And man, he like the spout was open. He was F, M, F, D, S, just all the alphabet letters. and, and he didn't know how to cuss. So he was like, you mother S, and would just keep going. And so that's when I had to hit the brakes. I'm like, hey, dude, Caleb he listens a lot better than the younger two.
Yeah.
He's
Silas
more,
doesn't listen.
yeah. The younger kids are
Not
usually the worst.
Oh, we're just
not to be
dropping
mean to
names.
him. I love him.
Dang. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We've been spilling the beans.
Okay, I guess
Yeah.
so. You know what snitches get?
Yeah. Hugs and kisses.
That's it. Yes.
So Silas lets him loose. He lets it go. He says all the cuss words. Oh shit, he's back. Sorry. No.
So funny thing. And then I'll let Margaret respond. So Silas and I went on a boys trip, camping trip a while back,
We
several
just
years
talked
ago.
about this.
Oh, did you? Okay.
No, keep going.
No. So that's where, like, my thought process was, he'll get it out of his system. He'll realize that it's not that much fun.
Yeah.
And like, whatever. That's not what happened.
Neither of those things are true.
Yeah, neither of those things happened. So yeah, a dude talks like, I'll bet he could probably swear you under the table.
No kidding.
Yeah, just you should play him in Fortnite sometime. I'll be chilling in my room, and I'll just all of a sudden you hear like the walls coming down.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, one of his favorite things is he always says, nobody loves you, not even your parents.
not even your dogs.
Not even your cat.
That's why nobody loves you.
And even like if I don't
That's
even
better
know
than
what-
cuss words. That was good.
Well, he says it alongside cuss words.
He's
Yeah,
stacking it.
he's stacking it.
Okay,
Mhm.
props, my man.
So, but you were saying that you acknowledged that you swore when you were younger and you're flipping people off. You acknowledge that?
Oh, Margaret.
Oh
Margaret?
yeah,
Just
I was bad.
just making sure you weren't trying to, portray yourself as better than you were. Which you are
holier than-
No,
wonderful.
up
kid.
until like freshman year. Like freshman year up, I didn't. Freshman year down, I was bad.
That's probably when did we start being real homies? Probably
What?
real
Real
homies.
homies?
When did we start being
Oh,
probably maybe about freshman year?
probably, yeah.
Up until then, you were kind of a weirdo.
Yeah.
You will.
We don't,
Just kidding. You weren't a weirdo.
don't talk about it though,
I'm
because
just
I was
kidding.
really weird. No, I
No,
was
you weren't.
really weird.
No, you weren't. You say that, but I'm
Dad.
just joking. You weren't.
I was
Margaret,
weird, and you know it.
was any part of your education career done in the home? Like, were you homeschooled a little bit?
I sure was for 2 years, and that's when I was the weirdest.
That's strange. I've never heard that homeschooled kids are.
Weird.
That's
What
not
is
even
your
true.
what does your curriculum consist of? Do you remember?
What did it consist of?
Yeah, what did it
Oh,
consist of?
I picked astronomy for one of my classes.
So you were learning
I
like
don't know,
about Libra and Aquariuses and stuff?
pretty much. And then well, I did math, but I cheated. I never did one single assignment. I just looked it up. Um, I don't remember. It was just English.
How big of a role do you think math is going to play in your life?
Hopefully not too big, because I'm not very good at it.
Lucky for you, you got a supercomputer in your pocket everywhere you
Mhm.
go. Man,
Sure
I'm getting a
do.
lot of notifications.
By the time, well, maybe not you. By the time your kids are in the workforce, they'll have a supercomputer implanted in their brain.
Yeah, a little chip. You could probably get that as a modification when you're older.
You think by the
Probably.
time she's how old are you gonna be tomorrow, Margaret?
17.
Boom. Tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
So she's, 23 years. Might happen by the time she's 40, but definitely I'll bet by the time her kids are working age.
Yeah.
I think you actually said that. I think you might have said that last week, that you think kind of the next step in human evolution is going to be like a
Well, I don't know if it's the next step, but the next step is we've been kind of, I think, greasing the wheels and greasing the tracks of this, but I think eventually humans and machines we've already started to merge. You can't go anywhere without your phone, can't do anything without internet of some type. All the vehicles have GPSs on them and computers. Humans can't function without. I mean, what if the lights went out?
Yeah. And a lot of those computers, we may not even know it, but a lot of them are, I think, operating with artificial intelligence or predictive intelligence, or it's more integrated with us than we may know.
Yeah,
it goes for example, and I don't like all examples, most examples that I give, I don't really know if this is true.
Doesn't have to be, doesn't matter.
Okay. So when I go to my phone, a lot of times when I pull down, it'll show up the frequently used apps or whatever. But I do find that sometimes, like when I'm going to Planet Fitness, I'll pull it down, and Planet Fitness is one of my first choices. Like it's at its most convenient time. And so I have to assume that's either based on location, the geo stuff, or timing, or there's got to be some reason why it says these are the apps he's most likely to use right now. Out of all the apps on my phone, at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's most likely to be these.
Yeah, I haven't even changed, like I haven't even set up a work location on my personal phone, but every time I get to work, it automatically goes into work mode. Like I have to turn that off to get text and stuff. Whenever I get into my parking lot at work, my phone goes into work mode and silences all notifications.
Yeah. Well, I guess I didn't even think about this. This is the most obvious way that it's integrated, is the algorithm. Like, so it knows which political views you want to hear. It knows which political views are going to get a response out of you. It knows what'll get shared. It knows and that's probably the biggest one, is what's going to get shared. Yes, Margaret, you have a question?
No, I have something to say.
Oh, say it.
My maps
Bro, listen,
are
hold
tracking
up,
me
hold
too.
up. Listen, if you're going to be a guest on
Don't
this
forget it.
podcast, you ain't going to raise your hand. You're just going to interject.
You got to.
Okay, well, interjecting. I got in my car yesterday and you know what popped up,
Okay.
and I'm deeply offended by it.
An ad for something?
No, the little map thing said 11 minutes to McDonald's. It thought as soon as I sat in my car, they thought I was going straight to McDonald's, and maybe I was, but
Yeah,
they knew. And
they
I was
did
like, what
know.
do you mean straight to? Because I know they do it with work too, because I
Mhm.
leave for work every day at the same time. So they're like, okay, this many minutes to your work. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine because I go to work every day. McDonald's? It just knew I was going to McDonald's.
That's weird how it works like that.
That's embarrassing.
But you can get around to all of your favorite places without GPS. You know how to drive there
Yeah,
without.
yeah.
What about phone numbers? Do you have a really good grasp on, like, if you didn't have the
What's my
contacts
phone number?
saved?
I know your phone number.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Am I supposed to say it?
no, no,
No.
no, 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 no. I
Okay.
was waiting for someone to start blurting it out. I was like, we're gonna have to cut that.
Which means nothing, by the way. I feel like there's as I reviewed the podcast, I noticed there's a lot that say we're gonna have to edit this out, and then nothing gets edited out. So
I've changed
we
my editing strategy to where I just don't.
just
know.
don't.
Like,
It is done.
yeah,
It's
like, all right,
much faster that way.
yeah. Have,
Yeah, Margaret. I mean that might be because you go to McDonald's too much, eh?
Probably, but
But
they need to mind their own
it ain't their
business.
place. Ain't their place to judge. Is that what you're
It's
saying?
not their place. I can eat my McDonald's
It's just trying to be
and
helpful,
I'll
though.
like it.
It's just trying to be helpful. But what if it gets to a point where it's not just being helpful, but it's being like uh entrapment? Like you sure you don't want to go to McDonald's? Hmm.
Yeah,
Well
and I say that
then,
I'm sure every single time.
you know what? Let's do it. As a matter of fact, I do want to.
when it dismisses it, there's another window that pops up like confirm. You don't want to?
You sure? Sure about that?
You sure about that?
Um, one thing that we for sure need to get to that Margaret would like. No, she doesn't want me to say it.
Oh,
No, I
If
say it, but not that I want
we'll cut that out.
she wants a tarot reading if you're willing.
I can do that later, but I got to start shuffling now.
Okay. Okay, we wanted to make sure that we got that request in.
This is not gonna be anything official. This is just gonna be a
This
this is gonna be a very, what's the word? Not amateur.
beta? Would it be like a beta version? No,
There's
I'm
no
not
Gas
saying-
there's
station?
nothing beta in my life, son.
beta version is what I'm thinking. What'd you say, Margaret? Gas station?
Yeah, I think that it is a gas station tarot reading. We'll open a tattoo/tarot shop. It can be Pony
What?
Pony Express.
I see a shitty tattoo in your future. Yep, right this way. Can I interest you in our flash wall?
Would you like some kratom or a Delta 8 and a
Can I-
tattoo?
Can I draw you a horse?
What was what oh, the tarot readings. Oh yeah. Um it can mean nothing if you want it to mean nothing, or it can mean something. It's really about what it means to you and what it means to the reader. And they use different words, like I bet you've heard that back in the day, science and religion, like there was no the science comes from the priest of the past. So they say things like spirits or gods or angels or demons or whatever can talk to you through the cards. And I think another word for that would be like your higher consciousness, like your evolved self, or yeah, I like to think of it as like, and this is with the woo woo stuff, like your ancestors or maybe someone who's supposed to be talking to you. But even that is still really, it's the higher waves, the truth, the source. But it depends on a lot of things. It uh depends on the reader. Like if the reader's actually shuffling, or maybe the reader might have an ulterior motive. Like, say I open a shop and I see someone that comes in that looks like Mr. Moneybags or Mrs. Moneybags, and I say I just want to give them something that's going to keep them coming. Like what happened with me.
Mhm.
My first tarot reading was last year, and I don't think it's a bad, but I call them gypsies, the Romanov ladies. Rom, what's the word that you use for gypsies, Justin?
Uh,
Romanian?
I'm a little bit surprised that that's still, as far as I know, still an allowable term. But
Oh,
yeah, kind of Eastern European, Romanian.
yeah, Romanian. The Romanian ladies gave me a great reading, and gave me and Ashley she got a separate reading, and I mean, we both cried and embraced afterwards because we're suckers. And we're like, yes, they had told us that we need to come back for further. She was like, you got some extra work you need to do. You need to come
Hmm.
back here.
Like
And
a
we
chiropractor.
yeah, yeah. Um, and we were like, yes, we're immediately going to take some money out of our children's college fund to come here, and can I invest in your business? Um, we didn't, but they definitely had us on the hook for that. We were about to. So,
Um,
yeah, they might have bad motives, but maybe not.
Complete non sequitur, but
That's
in my
fine.
mind it makes sense. I watched a movie last night that I thought was interesting. It wasn't like amazing good, but it was pretty interesting. I think he might like it. It's got Bryan Cranston in it, and it's called The Infiltrator.
Hmm.
It's about I thought he was DEA the whole time, but I think he might have been CIA, and then his partner was Customs. But it was 1985 at Miami. Um, Basically, he's an undercover infiltrating a cartel, but they're going after the money. So it's really interesting. And there's a scene where his undercover wife, his partner, read the palm of one of the guys that they're trying to capture, and she's telling him like, I see successful business transaction or something like that. And it was just interesting because they were using that to further their agenda, which is kind of what you were talking about.
Did the sheriff's office ever utilize the skills of like a psychic or anyone to find a dead body or to?
Dude, that's such a weird story.
I don't know it.
You don't?
Uh-uh.
Oh man, I don't. I'm not sure how much I would be allowed to really say because it's still an ongoing investigation. But
Oh.
we had a detective. There was a cold case homicide that um, we had a group assigned to, and one of the detectives. I've got a funny story about this guy. But one of the detectives was just kind of a superstitious kind of guy. Like
Hmm.
he's the sort that would hear, like he'd be up in the courthouse and he would hear pins scribbling on paper or doors opening and closing, footsteps. Who knows what? Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
I'm really upset that I don't know who you're talking about, because I feel like I would have liked this guy.
I don't know. But anyway, unbeknownst to anybody else on the team, he consults a psychic,
Okay.
and it's unclear what information he had given the psychic. And I think this is part of the problem with the well, it's a strength. It's a good thing. One of the things about the fake psychics is they're really good at getting information from you without you knowing, and then they use that to make it seem like they got it. And I actually watched a reading. A friend of mine sent me a Zoom recording of one because back during COVID they had a psychic reading via Zoom,
Hmm.
and it's really like you can see how they believe it, why they believe it. But from my perspective, I'm like, well, of course he's gonna. Of course, it's in this case a suicide because it was a teenager and they didn't have an accident and they weren't sick. What else could it be?
Could
Suicide.
be lots of other things.
Well, but the most like the way he asked it, he was leading them down a road to say one specific thing, and then when he acknowledged, like when once they acknowledged it, oh my God, that's right. Well, like he's got them because like he's just building their confidence all along the way. Anyway, they were spot on with some of the stuff we were looking for. Some of the other information we had corroborated it, that like they were different. They were completely different sources. So the question is, did he give them this information? Did they just randomly corroborate this information? Nobody knows. And so we're kind of back to square one. Like, was it actually useful or not? I don't know.
Well, I used to be pretty much like 100% on board with the skeptic, not septic, the skeptic version of that, which is like, oh yeah, of course they're just using the information. They're just telling you what you want. But after or I don't know, kind of deciphering for myself what like that higher voice, that higher consciousness means, sometimes that is picking up what they're laying down and telling them what they want, because you're feeding off the energy, which is the tone and where they're trying to lead you. You're giving them, yeah, you're feeling everything. Like it has the most effective readings are like in the same room, because you even want to feel their physical energy that they're giving off, their facial expressions, the how their body shifts. All of that is part of the higher self listening, or the spirits listening.
Okay, so two thoughts on that.
Okay.
When I was watching this this I guess you'd call it a reading. It wasn't a palm. It was like he was talking to dead people.
Yeah, it's my favorite kind.
So I'm trying to what were we?
The energy and like the stuff coming off of the person who's saying it, the body language and the micro expressions.
Oh yeah. So do you think that, like, I think that he thought that he was doing the right thing, and I think that he gave them some clarity. He gave them some closure. I think that it was good for them on a emotional perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know. Like, I really don't think that it was true. I think that he was legitimately grabbing information they were giving and then giving it back to him. But as I was watching, I was kind of like, well, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's true, because it's helpful. You know, like, it's what they needed. And so to your point about, like, maybe it's good to have somebody like sense what your higher self is trying to say. Do you think that is that a good thing if it's not true, or is it still true even if it's not literally true?
Well, it all depends on what it means to the person being read to, like what it means to the person receiving the information. So that's why, like, after I lay some cards down for Marg, I'm gonna say, what does this mean to you? Or like, what I said, does that make sense in any way? And I'm gonna do that at different points, and I'm even gonna take it from there, even if with no intent. Like right now, I'm kind of just like deciphering, explaining the way that I do stuff in like a skeptic way. I'm gonna, dang it, like this has nothing to do with our reading. It's just something that's popped up twice when I'm doing this. This is the death card. And one of the things that I like to do, one of the things that means something, it's not part of the reading, but I've seen a lot of readers do this. The gypsies did this also, is whenever they shuffle, the first card they look at is the bottom card. Like, okay. But let me read you what death means. This is my training wheels deck. This isn't the real, like this has a picture of the real cards in the middle, but it has all the explanations written on the side. This is for new readers. The traditional deck is the Wright Smith. I can't remember, but this is the traditional deck that you get. This is just the old school tarot deck. But it used to be a card game hundreds of years ago, like that kids would play. Well, this is the same exact deck. It just has all the explanations written on the side. So it's still based on what it means to you and what it means to the reader, but this helps me as the reader to learn what the cards mean. So death, upright, like the way that I saw it, means endings. It's just the end of something, the death of something. Because in this philosophy, there really is no death anyway. Like your soul is going to live forever, and however that means to you, your energy is. It's also the beginnings, because with every death, there's a new beginning. Change, transformation, transition, metamorphosis, the end of a cycle. It's a no card. If you had a question, it's a no. It's also, this card was the number 13 in the deck. Reduces to 4. I don't know how that math adds up, but the number 4 is about control and organization. So it's a 13, but it's also a 4, and it means about like control, maybe OCD type stuff. It's a water sign and also a Scorpio sign. I don't like Scorpios, but it's a Scorpio sign. If it was upside down, it would be the reversed meaning. So it's resistance to change, fearing change, holding on to something that you should let go, stagnation, decay, personal transformation. So there's a negative and a positive read or interpretation of every single card. And the death card, like it's almost never what the face of it is. Like it's not saying you're going to die.
That scared me when you said death card. I was like, oh no. I thought I was done for.
So like just now, after everything, after all those explanations, really what it is the end of something and the beginning of another thing. Like the end of your 16th year and the beginning of your 17th year. The end of one relationship, the beginning of a new one. The end of one period of classes, the beginning of a new period of classes. Or something final. Like this is a no. It's not a maybe. It's definitely not a yes. It is a no to whatever question you had. And this card is not a card I'm pulling for you, but I shuffled and I look at the bottom, and that kind of sets the tone of the reading. Like, okay, death is in the room, whatever that means. But she's actually always she never goes anywhere.
I heard something. I think it was. I'm not sure what it was. A book or a podcast or something talking about the faces of death. It was something I think you said that was really. The way they said it was really. It was an interesting way to look at it. That death is all. It was the picture of Weed and Me. Duncan Trussell talks about it. How normally death doesn't have a face because there's so many, like the million faces of death. But during the time of COVID, death had a face, and so everybody was afraid of it. And so normally we don't fear it because it's not with like it's got so many faces that it could be anything, and so we don't pay attention to it. But now everybody's focused on it because it has a face. Anyway.
Almost all cultures, like ancient cultures, had a death deity, and they pretty much all still exist in some way, shape, or form, but had a death deity. They are almost always female, the death deities, and they're almost always regarded as everyone that I know. I'm thinking of the Morgan from like the Scots Irish, the Celtic folks had the Morgan, the Lady Morgan. Hindus had Kali Ma, literally Mother Death. She's the out of control version of, I can't remember her name, but she has a normal name. It's not CT, but it's something. She had Death is her alter ego. She's normally a kind, sweet lady, but what happened one time is she thought her husband was killed, Shiva, and so she was overcome with rage, and so she had become Death, the destroyer of worlds. And she was like, "You want to mess with my husband?" Boom! And she turns into this flame. She had 8 arms and 9 heads, and one of the arms was holding the head of Brahma, the head god in the Trinity. She was like, "There's nothing sacred. I'll kill everything, including the head god." And she was stepping on bodies. And what the story was, there was a demon that she thought killed her husband, and she was so overcome. And this demon had a boon, a power that if you killed him, he was going, as soon as his blood hit the ground, that drop of blood was going to turn into another version of him. So, like, oh, now there's 5 of us. Now there's 100 of us. And so all these warriors and all these gods were trying to kill this demon that they just couldn't kill until she thought that they killed Shiva, and she was overcome with rage. She turned from her motherly loving form into Kali. And one of the way that she defeated him is she would cut off the head and then pour all of his blood into a bowl and drink his blood. And that's why her tongue's always sticking out and it's got blood dripping from it. She's just a bad chick.
Okay.
And she did this hundreds of times until the demon was dead, but her bloodlust wasn't satisfied, so she was going on a rampage, killing everything, every tree, every person, every animal. And she was like, "You're all gonna die. My husband's dead. You're all out of here." So Shiva had to control this chick, and he knew the only thing that would snap her out of it was her love for him. So he disguised himself as one of the dead bodies. He was laying on the ground dead until she finally stepped on him. And as soon as she stepped on him, she was overcome with grief and embarrassment. Like, oh, I just stepped on the love. And that's what snapped her out of it, was love. Snapped her out of it. But
So
Kali,
how does she? What's her function in death today?
everyone who talks about Kali, like, really loves Kali. She's awesome. Kind of like Santa Muerta. Like, people who love Santa Muerta really love Santa Muerta. Like, she's their gal. I listened to this podcast that's really good. This guy is a devotee of Kali, but he's a devotee of every he's a Hindu guy. And I can't find it now. But anyway, uh when he talks about Kali, his eyes open up and you can tell like he's really excited. He was like, and Kali Ma, she is everywhere. She is, because death is also the birth of everything. Every life comes from a death in some way, shape, or form.
So would they say that like in death that Kali like takes you, or like does she have an active role in death, or
She transforms you to the next stage. She opens the door for the next phase. Like, you want change, she'll bring change. You want a new beginning, she'll bring you a new beginning. Um, yeah, and her hand is in everything. And eventually everything will, I mean, eventually our sun's going to blow up and the planet is going to be no more. Eventually everything will be consumed by death. Everything that you hold dear. Margaret, I hate to tell you this. Everyone you know and love is going to die.
Great.
so? All right, that's a wrap.
Another thing I do is so I look at the bottom card and then I'll split the deck in half, like cutting the books, when you're dealing. And this
Mhm.
is the 7 of Wands. And wands, I used to think was a curse. It's not really a curse. It just means something heavy, like serious. Magic. It's what you use to control the supernatural, the spiritual stuff.
Mhm.
7 upright means challenge, competition, protection, perseverance, defense, maintaining control. If you look at it, it's a dude holding a wand and he's got kind of an angry face. He's holding, like, he's struggling, and he's kind of swinging it over other wands and over the earth. Yeah, he's like a giant. There's a little river running through his legs. So he's trying to be in control, but is struggling to maintain this control, but he's not giving up. It's just a challenge. It's a 7 in the deck, and 7s are always good numbers in a bunch of traditions.
What's the cut deck? What's
It's
the
my
cut
favorite
card?
number.
Say that again, Justin.
How does the cut card play into it?
It's just
Is it-
another thing that sets the tone. I'll look at the bottom, and then I'll look at the cut.
Okay.
Regaining or losing control, mastery, choices, responsibility, myth, secrets. It's another no. If you had a question, it's really no. Okay. It's another no. It's a fire. So like of the elements, death was a water. This one is a fire. It's a third deacon of Leo. Leo the lion. Leos are always like majestic or in control, royalty. It would be it's in that family. If it were to be pulled upside down, it would mean exhaustion, giving up, destroyed confidence, overwhelmed, overly protective, even. Now, so I haven't even pulled a real card for you yet, but those are just the two cards that are like setting the tone for this reading. What does that mean to you? Does that mean
This
anything?
reading sounds kind of tragic. um,
That's
the
one way to
first one,
take it.
the first one, like the first card about endings and stuff,
Death.
I feel like works because I just left regular school and I'm going to online school next week.
Mm-hmm.
And what else is ended? Depth.
Um,
I'm blanking.
your
Well,
16th year ends today.
True.
I can tell you that winter is another face of death. And, you know, winter's around all of us, and you guys are having a pretty cold winter, right?
Mhm.
Like, there is nothing growing out of the ground right now. Anything that's on the ground is dead or in some phase of death.
And then the second card, I'm forgetting what it
Seven of
said, like the
Wands.
main
I
idea.
already put it back in. I can't see it.
It was like
I just want to point out the fact that I noticed
Yeah.
that judgy look when I forgot what I was talking about mid sentence, and I'm gonna be honest, that happens a lot. Margaret, I'm talking to you, Margaret. I'm
oh
looking at you. I noticed
well
that
because
I noticed that judgy face, and I just want you to know I'm giving it back. So what was it you were
well
talking?
I'm
What?
not forgetting what I was
What?
talking about. You forgot what we were talking about while you were talking about it. And that's
That
kind
happens.
of
Go ahead.
Oh, look, I drew it again.
What are we
Seven
talking
of
about?
Wands. What does this mean to you? He's angry. He's a giant over the whole world. At least that's what he's trying to be. And he's using something big to fight a lot of other something bigs.
Seven's my favorite number.
Hell yeah, it is. There's a
Um
there's a seven of every suit. So the suits are wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. Pentacles always scares people, but pentacles means worldly or like financial blessings. Something not deep. Like wands are deep. Pentacles are like money or bling or something like that. Yeah. So there's a seven
and then
and a five of everything.
and didn't it say something about like what did the things on the side say?
Oh, well, shucks. It says fire. It's a third deacon of Leo. Regaining or losing control, mastery, choices, responsibility, myth, secrets.
I thought you said meth the first time you said that, and it really scared me, like the drugs.
Sorry
Anyway,
to tell you, but you do. We do live in Rose Hill.
Which is the nice part, right?
There's probably some meth around.
oh yeah.
You also live in Kansas. I guarantee there's some meth around. So those are just laying the tone. I'm going to pray to pacify everyone who thinks that we're praying to the devil. Jesus Christ, Lord, Son of God, protect me from all demons. Protect us from any devil that would come in here. I rebuke Satan in the name of Jesus. Give us the truth on these, or give us something that you want us to hear. Speak through the cards. All things belong to you. You can use all things. You speak in mysterious ways. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So I'm going to lay down, I'm going to do a past, present, and future reading, right?
Okay.
I've had this burning the whole time, a white candle for purity, protection. Also, I light a candle whenever I'm talking to my mom, or my mom's dead. Whenever I'm talking to my mom, or whenever I'm talking to, whenever I'm praying, which is something we still do. It's an old Christian thing. The Catholics do it. Protestants don't.
Mhm.
First card in your past. I'm holding the deck upside down. The Ten of Cups. This is a blessing of blessings.
Oh, heck yeah.
This is your past. First card in your past. Divine love, harmony, blissful relationships, alignment, inner happiness, fulfillment, dreams come true, family, contentment, total love and support. If you look at this card, it's a family, a husband and a wife and two kids dancing underneath a rainbow of cups. So you guys are dancing underneath blessings. Blessings on
Dancing in
blessings
the
on
blessings.
mm-hmm. It's a yes.
Dancing. That'd
This
be a
is
good song, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
This is a yes card. So if you had a question for your past, it's a yes. I'll just lay it down. Ten of Cups. Second card in the pack. The Five of Swords. If you see it, it's one big guy smirking as he's holding the swords of the two defeated guys walking away. Like, this is a no. Upright, it means conflict, disappointment, competition, defeat, winning at all cost, sneakiness, bullies, theft, abuse, abusive relationships. Second card in the past.
And that would be past.
Past.
And what's the purpose of the past cards? What's
It kind of it connects you to the authenticity. It's also kind of setting the tone. I almost said stone. It's setting the tone of the reading, and it's also something for you to like identify with, like laying the foundation. Like, yeah, that I do see something about bullies or conflict, disagreement, defeat in my past. Yeah, there was something that I lost or whatever in the past, something like that. Third and final card of the past. This is a badass card, actually. This is the Knight of Swords. The knight in every suit is the person that is going to lead the battle, like the top general, the person who's going to charge in fearless. And swords it means like kind of just what it means, like military or strength or fight or whatever. Upright, ambitious, action oriented, driven to succeed, fast thinking, defending beliefs. You're like a warrior of, this is your past, a warrior of beliefs, someone who like stands up for the weak, someone who's a protector. Yeah, they don't, it's an air card. There's not a lot of explanation needed with that. So pass. You got the Ten of Cups, blessings on blessings, Five of Swords, which is overcoming conflict or bullies or abusive relationships, something like that. Knight of Swords, which is leading the battle. That's your past. What does that mean to you? Do you identify with any of that? Any of that
I
makes
think
sense?
all of them.
Yeah.
Like the first one. Well, how far back in the past does it go? Like however far back.
Yeah. However far back it means to you. It can go back to past lives if you believe in that kind of thing.
I sure do. But yeah, like the first one, the cups,
Mm-hmm.
like the happy blessings cups. That was probably a long, long time ago. And then the second one, and I'm not talking mean or bad. Since then we have overcome it and we're good buds now. But the relationship one, my therapist said was like a little bit abusive. So
Sure, that can mean lots of things. It's like bullying today doesn't
yeah,
mean what it used to mean.
yeah.
Sure.
That's what like words being mean, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then
The Knight of
the
Swords.
last, that's belief, like standing up for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, first card in your present. The Six of Wands. It's a guy with like a wreath on his head, riding a white horse, wearing a royal robe, looking pretty pompous. Public recognition, victory, progress, self-confidence. I can tell you're about to have some public recognition just for your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Any achievements you've achieved recently? Anything big, like you're about to get recognized or you are getting recognized. This is your present.
Mm-hmm.
Public recognition, victory, progress, self-confidence. It's another yes card. Movement, balance, solutions, harmony, healing, and empathy. First present. Second present. Seven of Swords. Betrayal, deception, getting away with something, acting strategically, trickery. Regaining or losing control, mastery, choices, responsibility, myth, secrets. That's your second card for present. Third card for present. This is like a foundational card, doesn't need a suit. Strength, courage, passion, subtle power. And what's really cool is strength is a lady controlling a lion, like petting a lion. She's totally subdued a lion. And
Ooh.
it's not the mean man, you know, it's not the knight, it's not a king, it's not a page, it's a lady in a white dress. Like I said, controlling a lion. Courage, passion, subtle power, persuasion, influence, inner strength, focus, and compassion. That's your present. You got really good present cards. Yeah, blessings on blessings on blessings.
Heck yeah.
Let's just move to the future. That's pretty self-explanatory. You're knocking it out of the park right now. You're doing good. First card in the future, 3 of Cups. Celebration, friendship, collaboration, creativity, friendship again, community, and happiness. 3 ladies holding cups. Cheers. Also, triplicity. I don't know what that means. Expression, expansion of an idea, growth, first stages of completion. Future. Second future card. This is one of your dad's cards. The Hierophant. Upright means institutions, tradition, religion, society and its rules, social approval, conformity, forgiveness, bonded, mercy, wisdom, and trust. This is like a priest over the people. There's people like looking to that priest for guidance or listening to their words. It's a maybe card. Last and final, the same thing, I guess. Card for the future, the Queen of Pentacles. This is the Queen of Blessings, worldly blessings, financial or whatever you mean. The Queen of Pentacles. Nurturing, practical, providing financially, a working parent. So a lady that doesn't just sit back and lets someone provide for her, a lady that has her own blessings, that provides her own financial strength and her own worldly. So we got your past, present, and future. Does any of that, do you connect with any of that? Does any of that make sense to you?
I feel like, yeah.
Was there a question? I don't want you to tell me the question because it can be personal, but was there a question that you think was maybe answered or at least addressed, or maybe some concerns?
Like with all the yes, no cards?
As far as past, present, and future, or just in general?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah. That is a
Yeah.
reading, which means that you've overcome, but you come from good, nurturing, happy home. But there's been obviously not everything was perfect. You've overcome some bullying or abuse. You're doing good right now in the present. You got blessings on blessings in the present. And in the future, you're going to take that confidence and use that to continue to become the woman you're going to be which seems like she's pretty good.
Mhm.
Seems all right.
Seems all right.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
That's a good reading. I was afraid it was gonna be something
Well,
bad.
because I got death first off. I was like,
That set the tone. Maybe that set the tone is just like the seriousness, and it gave us the opportunity to talk about how death isn't scary.
Yeah, that ain't bad.
Yeah, death ain't bad. It's has happened and it's going to happen to everyone.
Go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was just going to say that one of the people that I like to talk to that I'm always talking to is my mom. And my mom wasn't like this in the worldly sense. Like my brother or my cousins might hear this and be like, your mom wasn't like this. But now my relationship with my mom, especially since she's reconnected with the source. Like she's back in the ethereal world. I think like she can see the future and she sees the past and she sees through all the fleshly BS. So a lot of times I'm talking to her like, hey, help me with this problem. Hey, give me an answer for this. Hey, do the whatever I need. And however I interpret her answering me, I'm going to interpret in a motherly way. Like I'm going to interpret my mom giving me this. Like, hush, it's okay. There's death coming, but death isn't anything to be afraid of. Look, I experienced death and I didn't go anywhere. I'm still right here. Um, that's just, and I use that voice, or I hear that voice whenever I'm reading any card. Like I just shuffled a little bit. The Tower, sudden change, overheated, chaos, revelation, disaster, awakening, release, sudden death, or sudden insight. It's like the Tower of Babel, and there's lightning striking it, and people are falling out. Can be real scary, but if I hear my mom saying that, it's like, yeah, there's gonna be change. There's gonna be something scary coming up, and it's okay. The worst that can happen is you're gonna die, and that's all right. That is nothing to be afraid of. It's just a new beginning. That really is the absolute worst of anything. Like there's lots of bad things in life, but the worst of the worst is my life is going to end. And Jesus conquered death. Jesus conquered the grave. It's okay. We've got faith. We're not afraid of it.
You ever thought about how this is going to surprise you that I thought a lot about death?
What?
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever thought about how, like, no matter how you go, it's going to end with one last breath? It's going to end with you fall asleep. No matter how bad you're fighting it, no matter how, what at some point, you close your eyes and fall asleep.
Yep. Whether it's at an old age, surrounded by loved ones, or whether it's in a firefight in the hills of Afghanistan and you see your buddy get turned into a can of spaghetti, and next one is you. Yeah. Sorry, Margaret. That either way, it's going to be one last breath, one last caress.
Yep.
Misfits.
Hold me now, 'cause I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm thinking. That's Creed, Margaret. What you know about
Creed.
Creed?
6 feet.
What you know about Creed? With arms wide open, under
Isn't there a
the
game?
morning. What?
They're a gang?
Isn't there a game? A game.
Yeah, they're a hardcore gang.
Game.
No, we know what you're saying. We know what you're trying to say. Seize up.
Yeah, throw them C's up.
Creed. What's that you rapping, son? Creed. One arm, one on.
Scott Stapp, bruh.
Went to Lee University. Lee University is the Church of God denomination's university in Cleveland, Tennessee.
I think I knew that maybe he was religious.
He was a Pentecostal boy. He's a Pentecostal boy. Got kicked out of school for smoking the devil's lettuce. He got busted roasting a J.
That's marijuana, Margaret.
They threw him out of
know. Hey, okay, so it's 7:48 and I've got a hard out at 8. I gotta go. Okay. I noticed, let me see your mug real quick. Just drinking coffee out of.
Oh, this little thing?
Yeah. Okay, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Is it like I understand how people hate the Chiefs. I really do. I love them and I have since I was a little kid. But
Jealousy.
I get how if you're like new, you'd be like, oh, I hate these guys. All they do is win. Trust me, it hasn't always been this way.
Yeah.
Like, do you even like for people who say that the NFL is scripted,
Mhm.
that is rigged? Like, how could you possibly actually believe that? Do you think that anybody actually believes that?
Yeah,
You
of
think
course.
so?
Did you hear the commentators on the last game when the refs were throwing out these weird calls? Like, I guess it was specifically roughing the passer twice.
I mean, it looked like roughing the passer to
Come
me.
on. That's what one of the commentators said. They called roughing the passer, and on TV, it was like, come on. That's not what roughing the passer. They hit each other,
Ish.
and he was underneath them on the second one.
I mean, it was a bang bang play. You can see how the ref would have.
Did it really rough Mahomes up? Do you think that affected his playing at all?
Well, I mean, there's no doubt that Mahomes and Brady and um, whoever. I'm not sure who the
Brady
elite.
was a crybaby B word. Brady was always getting hurt.
I'm not saying it has anything to do with them. I'm saying that the league wants to protect,
Mm. They're
elite,
money makers.
their money makers. But here's the deal, and this is what I wanted to get to. I don't believe that it's scripted, and I don't believe it's rigged, because the Chiefs winning is it's at a point where it's no longer good for the NFL. Like
You
it's
think
in,
so?
yeah, I do. I think that like I hope the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, but if they win tomorrow, honestly, or whenever Sunday, it's not good for the NFL. It's not a good look. It's not going to bring more money. At this point, you got your fan base. A three-peat. Yeah, that'd
The
be
first
awesome.
three-peat in history. I'm surprised you don't see this because it's kind of like wrestling. It's kind of like the WWE, kind of like wrestling, to where it's to the point where no matter what the outcome is now, there's going to be a lot of people talking about it. And even now, there are more people talking about the Chiefs and the NFL than have ever talked about the NFL. Definitely than I've ever talked about the Chiefs, even if it's hate and venom. The same way people talked about the Patriots whenever Brady was, at the head of that dynasty. I hated the Patriots because
Yeah,
I knew they were going to win. I knew they were going to beat whatever team I was rooting
yeah,
for.
yeah. But didn't it seem like it didn't so much seem like they were going to win because they were better. It was because they had more money, or they had,
Yeah.
they were cheating,
Deflate
or
gate.
Belichick was
You're
stealing
always
signs.
looking for something to say that they're cheating. If you're
Yeah,
if you're hating on the winners, you're always
win winners win and losers lose, and
Mhm.
there's always going to be people that come up with excuses. But do you think that it's even plausible that it's rigged?
Not rigged. Like I don't think there's a Vince McMahon in the back calling the outcomes. Sorry, I hung my rosary over the camera and I thought it was gonna look cool, but it didn't and got in the way. Um I don't think there's someone calling the outcomes. Like I don't think it's decide they pick who's gonna win the Super Bowl. I don't think that. But I think that the refs on the field, well, this has happened. It's like it's been found out in basketball specifically, but I bet it's happened in football where refs take money or refs are
Oh,
betting.
yeah.
They're
Anytime,
gambling on the
yeah,
side.
yeah. Anytime there's a human involved, there's a potential for it to be corrupted.
So yeah, I need the Chiefs to win because I bet my mortgage on this. I bet 10 mortgages on this. So yeah,
Yeah.
anytime I can call roughing the passer, roughing the passer. Anytime I can do this, and people are going to believe it because the Chiefs have been winning. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that Mahomes gets a roughing the passer call anytime someone touches him because that's been happening. So that is how I believe the outcomes have been influenced by other than natural.
I I mean, I think that's a good coach's job, is to get in the ref's head and scream about offside or false start.
Sure.
They're doing it, and then eventually you're going to get a call. And maybe it was like a tic tac call, but that's your job. And it's like taking a flop. obnoxious, but it's
Yeah, there's some level of performance in every sport, but you know, football there definitely is taking the flop or coming up holding your wrist like, oh, he hurt me, and as soon as there's either a call or there's not a call, oh, shake it off, you're good.
how about soccer? You ever watch soccer?
Yeah.
And like that, so they touch somebody and they like flop, wiggle around on the ground like they're dying.
Did you ever play soccer growing up?
I did. Yeah, I liked soccer. I was good at it.
Were you in AYSO? Was that a thing?
No, I was in DRC, Derby Recreation Soccer, but I was
got
good. I was good, I tell you.
I joined an AYSO league. I know we're running out of minutes. We got 6 minutes left. I joined an AYSO league when I was 13, when I first went to that group home in Tennessee. I was a midfielder. Well, some kid got the ball and I ran like a linebacker into him. And like I didn't touch him with my hands, but my body made full contact with him at a dead sprint. And I knocked him down, got the ball, and like kept on going. All of a sudden, and all the parents on the side were like, "What the hell?" And I remember standing around like, "What? What did I just do?" And this kid was on the ground crying, like
What a baby!
I know. And he was much smaller than me. It was, yeah. I mean, it probably hurt him pretty bad. But I remember thinking, like, you are overreacting, my man. You had the ball. What was I supposed to do? My job is to get the ball. You got it. I got it now.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah, sucks to suck. Can you do that to me? And flex my shoulders at him.
I'll say that I dislocated my shoulder doing that, playing soccer. I was running full speed and I kind of dropped it. And oof, that's a painful experience.
Yeah.
That I don't recommend.
I missed my acupuncture yesterday, and I feel like I'm already more tense and more locked up, specifically in my neck and shoulders, than I would have been. And I need Dr. Chen to put them healing needles back in my neck because I feel like it really makes a difference.
I've wanted to try acupuncture.
Oh, I thought you were doing it.
No, I'm doing massage therapy, and we did cupping last week. But I want to try acupuncture.
Did cupping leave bruises?
Oh yeah, big ol' hickeys all over my back. Chris.
Well, what I'm gonna do today, since I missed acupuncture, the VA misses on a lot of things, but one thing they're really good at is sending stuff home that's supposed to, like, hey, take care of it yourself. And one of the things they sent home, I had one of these before, but this is my wife's, is a stem machine.
Oh, a TENS unit?
Yeah, dude.
Those are great, man.
I'm going to put some of these, like whenever we're done, I got this traction machine, which pulls my head away from my shoulders. It helps with my compressed discs. And then I'm going to put this thing on there and just electrocute that F out of my neck and my shoulders. I'm just going to ride that lightning, son, for about 15 minutes.
I was hoping you were going to say they sent you home with a home acupuncture kit. That would be freaking cool.
If there's one of those out there, I think they would know not to trust me with it.
You'd be out giving people acupunctures.
Yeah, come on into the Road Pony Tarot Acupuncture Tattoo Shop. It's in my buddy J-Dub's garage.
Can I get you a horse?
Here's a massage table that's on the house. All right. Well, Margaret, you got to come back on more often.
I know.
You know, women who have cats were called witches back in the day.
Maybe I'm a witch. I'm just kidding.
All right, we'll edit that part out.
Okay. Yeah, sure we will. All right. See you guys. Have a good day.